This isn't the time to be feeling guilty for the moment. Let's just focus on getting ourselves somewhere where they can't track us down. I made some preparations for a rainy day scenario. We'll stop by there first. Still pulling Yumiko along, I looked over to meet her eyes. Don't worry, it's going to be alright, trust me. She answered while squeezing my hand powerfully in hers. 連れ去られましたで済む問題か。ヘリや飛行機まで飛ばしながらこのざまとは、お前たちは寝ながら警護していたのか。There we go. That's the reaction I like to see. I'm more sadistic.
申し訳ございません。あの男がまさかあんな想定外の行動に出るとは思わず。その想定外に備えるのがお前たちの仕事だろうが。もういい。さっさと探しに行け。死ぬ気で行け。はい。一体どうなっとるんだ、あなたたちの組織は。
申し訳ございません。当該の件につきましては、現在こちらも全力で対応に当たっております。
さっさと捕まえて殺したりなんなりしろ。ことが大きくならないうちに早急に解決させるんだ。
一つ質問があるのですが、よろしいでしょうか。
なんだね。
どうして警察に通報なさらないのでしょうか。これは誘拐事件です。社長なら言うまでもなく警察関係者とのパイプもございます。早期解決を目指すとのことでしたら、私どもの組織や独自ルートに頼らずとも、その方が。
無理だと知っていて言っているのか。
いえ、私には分かりかねます。
今は会社にとっても私にとっても大切な時期だ。警察沙汰になれば必ずどこかから話は漏れる。メディアは報道管制で抑えられても妙な噂は立つだろう。そんなことになっては困るのだよ。ともかく警察沙汰にだけはできないんだ。そんなことを言う暇があったら少しでも早く解決する方法を考えたまえ。
しかし
そもそもこれはあなたの部下がやらかした事件だろう。内部で処理するのが筋だろうが。
Also, one of many things. You say humanly possible, but again, he's slightly superhuman, so that's not gonna be helpful. That's not really gonna work.
わかりました。最善を尽くします。
努力はせんでいい。必要なのは結果だけだ。
Very modest dinner for the day consists of the deep fried food I brought home from work, sides of boiled spinach and miso soup. Miso soup. Ah, need to get the pronunciations right. We do have some savings from my rainy day fund, but we can't dip into it carelessly with such an uncertain future ahead of us. Our diet's gotten pretty plain as a result, not that Yumiko's ever breathed a word of complaint. And again, she was always scrapping down junk food when we were in the dorm, so I guess she's not the pickiest of eaters. And we're absolutely not, sweet Jesus.
これがイカフライね。初めて食べるわ。
I can tell. I do seem to remember Makina telling me something about Yumiko's calamari history, or lack thereof. I have to say, this is the first time I've seen someone examine a piece of fried squid quite this intently.
食べたことがないって言ったら、寮でバカにされたのよ。
Well, congratulations on losing your fried squid virginity.
イリスさんみたいなことを言わないでちょうだい。
After those words leave Yumiko's mouth, slightly lonely expression flits across her face.
また、あの制服を着るときは来るのかしら。
Since our arrival here, those flashy school uniforms have naturally remained shut up inside our dresses. Unless we manage to get back to Mihama Academy someday, I suppose that's where they're going to stay. You want to?
そうね。似合ってるって言ってもらえた服だし。
If I hadn't rescued Yumiko, she would have been shipped off to some school overseas. Our old life would have disappeared whether I took action or not. There's nothing to regret.
どうしたの、風見くん?
It's nothing. Although I made some preparations for an emergency beforehand, this escape plan was still extremely reckless and dangerous. I acted boldly, assuming that the Sakaki family circumstances would prevent them from turning this into a manhunt. Still, depending on their approach to the situation, we might have ended up getting caught within hours. But I couldn't bring myself to just desert Yumiko whatever the risks. I couldn't just let her disappear and leave me with nothing but words of apology. I wanted to do something for her. Then again, that probably wasn't the only reason. I wanted to protect Yumiko. That was the single largest motive. But there was something else to it as well, something more selfish. The woman I get close to always seem to disappear. At some point, I'd grown afraid of that chain of loss. Convinced myself it was a curse, a punishment of some sort. The more I started to care about Yumiko, the more I wondered if she followed the same pattern, and then they tried to take her away from me. Yeah. Sister. Master. Actually, friend there who died because he didn't want to kill at the time he was being trained as a child assassin soldier. Then Master. Sister, mother, friend, then Master. Again, there's a big order of events that goes on in Kazumi's life. Yumiko tries to speak, her voice soft but hesitates. Reading the atmosphere, I answer before she can continue. Are you about to apologize again, Yumiko? Looks like I hit the bullseye. She lowers her eyes from mine awkwardly. I told you to cut it out with that. His life was already derailed from the very beginning. Yumiko interrupted her halfway through the sentence with a slightly forcible tone. I decided to protect you, and you decided to come with me. There's nothing to be ashamed of, and nothing to apologize for. Look, Yumiko, you're finally your own person now, so for the moment, why not think about yourself? I imagine you've gotten pretty decent backlog to work through on that front. Yumiko nods firmly. Probably came off as pretty pompous there, but those words were directed at myself as much as her. What's driving me forward right now? It's absolutely true that I want to protect Yumiko and do what's best for her, and underneath those clear feelings, there's a number of hazier emotions I don't quite understand myself. When I took her out of that plane, I told her we searched for an answer. I thought it was the word Yumiko needed to hear most after all those years lost in the fog, but I'm starting to think that applies just as much to me. Here, Yumiko, eat that one too. Can't allow my uncertainty to make Yumiko uneasy as well. For the moment, I'm going to try to keep the pensive reveries to a minimum. The forecast called for rain, but instead we're greeted with a clear and beautiful morning. Not that the weather outside has too much effect on our current lifestyle, especially in Yumiko's case. Are these all ones you finished already? I just sure had a sizable pile of hardcover books sitting at Yumiko's bedside. Yeah, alright. No, I was just trying to remember when they're due back at the library. Yumiko is currently a fugitive of sorts. Naturally, that restricts her freedom of movement. She leaves the apartment mostly at night when few pedestrians are around and only when I've given her the all clear. The vast majority of her time is spent indoors. But of course we go crazy just sitting around in here all day long, so I take periodic trips to the library to borrow her large quantities of books. Were these any good?
風見くんのチョイスがいいのかしらね。興味深く読んでいるものばかりだし。
It doesn't sound like Yumiko saying that just for my sake, probably her honest thoughts. That said, spending all this time alone must be a little roughly emotionally. Yumiko was on her own more often than not even when we were in the dorm, but she had a cell phone, easy access to the internet, and above all else, precarious friends who kept things lively. By comparison, she's only got one antisocial man for company in this cramped apartment, and he's not even around for most of the day. There aren't many chances for us to do much of anything together. Gotta start thinking about the next move pretty soon. Can't keep up this lifestyle forever. Decisive solution's going to be necessary. Not that I really know what that would look like yet. Suppose there's no choice but to cautiously observe the Sakaki family movement and piece together a strategy. Cell phone in my breast pocket buzzes quietly only once. Ever since the kidnapping, it hasn't been doing much of that. There aren't many people who know the number. Most of them are back in the Mahami Academy dorm, and I told them in no uncertain terms not to call except an outright emergency. Under these circumstances, there's only one possible reason my phone would ring. Figures. When I see at the screen, I nod to myself and get to my feet. Yumiko doesn't know who it's from, or even why I received that message. Probably a bit disconcerting to see me get up so suddenly for no apparent reason. Yeah, just for a while. Even so, at times like this, Yumiko never asks where I'm going or why. I guess that means she trusts me, but there's still a clear shadow of unease on her face. I'll be back in an hour or so. Lightly patting her on the head, I try to offer a little reassurance. She must understand rationally that I'll be back soon enough, but it's only natural to feel a little unsettled when your only connections to the outside world vanishes. I casually descend the apartment stairs, then glance around the area as I head into an alley. After 2 quick left turns, I climb over a rusted old gas meter and make my way down a shadow lane to a dead end. This place is scouted out before. It's a blind spot from pretty much any angle with very little risk of being overheard. Against the far wall, take one last careful look around, then finally take out my phone. JP's voice hasn't changed much since our escape, same business-like tone as always. There's an oddly upbeat song playing in the background, though. Sounds like she's got her mini competent stereo on. We're not exactly thriving, but at least we have our health. When did Ichigaya start investing in mind reading research? JP interpurses her retorts with heavy, exasperated sighs. This incident has, of course, been a nuisance for her as my boss. Case officer bears ultimate responsibility for their agent's actions. She's temporarily demoted until the matter is resolved, and they went so far as to set up an internal investigation to determine if she was conspiring with me. In the end, they decided I acted alone and cleared JP's name. That's the only reason she's even able to talk to me like this. Of course, I'm still using my untraceable phone with its encrypted connection for these chats. To be honest, a few hours of groveling at her feet wouldn't really cut it at this point, but there's no point worrying about paying her back until I stop running up the tab. Yeah, I guess I'm starting to get the hang of this manual labor thing. Anyway, so what do I owe the pleasure?
風見雄二への説得。いつまでもこんなことを続けていても仕方ないんだから、早く投稿しなさい。それが身のためよ。
A tempting suggestion, but unfortunately, I'm otherwise engaged at the moment. Should have made your offer earlier.
今でも変更は可能よ。キャンセルの手続きは私がしてあげるわ。
Sorry, but I'm not a big fan of changing horses midstream. Let's drop the subject, shall we?
ユージの部屋にあったサボテン。そろそろ虫食いにあってもいい頃合いなんだけど、どうなのかしら。あら、どうしたの？
Nothing, leave the cactus alone. I'm pretty sure it's an insect tree.
了解。さっきの件、心変わりするようならいつでも連絡してね。それじゃ。
JP promptly hangs up on me, and typically, if effective style, I flip the phone shut. No movements at present, eh? The main meaning of that formula-headed conversation lay in the music playing in the background. We have a simple system where the genre of song communicates some basic information. Today it was a bossa nova Hawaiian beat arrangement, meaning Ichigo's search is continuing with no apparent progress, no imminent threats, but we can't let our guards down. Now that her name's been cleared, she's probably no longer under surveillance, but JB's straight-laced military type with a powerful respect for authority. She's not capable of casually leaking me detailed information. So instead, she gives me small hints using this sort of indirect method. I really am due for one hell of a marathon groveling session when this is all over. Seriously though, JB, what kind of question was that? Her casual query about my cactus at the end there took me by surprise. I never owned such a plant in my life. It was a clear reference to the prickly individual currently sharing my room. As for worm-eaten, that should probably go without saying. Well, I guess it wouldn't be too strange to interpret it that way. Whatever the circumstances may be, I'm a man and Yumiko is a woman. We ran away hand in hand, we're living together. It's not hard to see why someone might imagine something along those lines. And you guys probably get what they mean by that by now. So I'm not going to explain anything. Younger viewers, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get an explanation from me whatsoever. For a woman at JP's age and personalities probably means like the natural assumption to make. Still, the fact of the matter is nothing happened between us. It's questionably whether Yumiko's interested in being eaten by anyone. And more fundamentally, I don't have a clear sense of how she feels about me. At the very least, I think she trusts me. Thanks to just JP's unnecessary prying, I got a new question weighing slightly on my mind. The room's silent except for the irregular clackling of our chopsticks. Yumiko's never been the type to chatter on and on while she eats. In fact, she seems to make an effort to be as quiet as possible at the table. Probably has something to do with that good breeding of hers. I tend not to talk too much during meals myself, but today my silence is deliberate. Where instead of trying to make conversation, I'm focusing my thoughts on the matter from this afternoon. What exactly does Yumiko think of me? It's like something a middle schooler would be worrying about. That said, considering our very intimate living circumstances, as you can see, there's only one bed. On the floor, the presence or absence of romantic feelings is a serious matter. If I jump to mistaken conclusion, I could end up making Yumiko deeply uncomfortable, and the one refuge she has left, I need to proceed very carefully. So, guess it wouldn't hurt to ask. Something I've been wondering about that seems tragically related to the question at hand. Seems like a good place to begin. Hey, Yumiko. Why are you still using my last name? Yumiko's chopsticks stop dead mid-air, her pupils shrinking suddenly inside wide-open eyes. Not a complicated question, right? Just wondering why you never called me Yuji. Constantly using the intimate first name with Yumiko, but she's still going with Kazami. Is that an implicit signal not to try and get any closer, or does it have some other meaning? Knowing that might have give me an answer to the more sensitive question I've been pondering. Fortunately, Yumiko appears to have frozen solid. For a good 5 seconds, she just stares at me. Finally, if remembering to move, she begins to flop her mouth slightly open and closed like a goldfish. The words that finally emerge from her mouth are far from the conclusive reply I was hoping for. Staring down at her omelet as she pokes at it with her chopsticks, she mumbles a vague non-answers. Yumiko abruptly pivots to a question of her own in an attempt to regain control of the conversation. Being honest with her at this point would probably be a mistake. No reason in particular, just a little curious. What's wrong? Were you expecting something else? Actually, I wanted to be more honest about that, saying, hey, I have feelings for you. Please answer me. Do you like me or not? But Yumiko's slightly flushed face pulls back to the original distance. Her expression changing to one of restrained anger. The omelet she was filled with has been thoroughly dissected into a few miserable yellow chunks. And in the end, I didn't even get an answer to my question. That reaction was just too ambiguous. From one angle, it looks like Yumiko is actively hiding romantic feelings for me, but you could also interpret it as an attempt to deflect my interests. To be perfectly honest, I'm not the most perceptive man alive when it comes to these matters. Analyzing Yumiko's feelings based off that conversation is far beyond my meager capabilities. Quietly slurping down my miso soup, I glance over at the young woman in question. She's still got an irritable expression on her face. I don't quite understand the thought process, but if she's displeased with me for trying to upset the status quo, I guess she isn't interested for the moment. That night, even after turning out the lights and slipping under my blanket, I couldn't manage to fall asleep. Yumiko sleeping at my side as always, but as I watch, her regular peaceful breathing begins to change slightly. Every once in a while, Yumiko grimaces and moans softly in her sleep. Might be some sort of nightmare. Sometimes it sounds like she's trying to speak, although the words aren't intelligible. Don't worry, Yumiko. Gently touched her forehead and stroked my hand through her hair. Her expression seems to soften a little. Maybe the words brought her some relief. My own feelings had been an open question to me for some time, but as I looked down Yumiko's face, I could feel something like an answer emerge. The girl's definitely special to me. That vaguely desire to keep her safe has grown into something personal and affectionate. But that doesn't mean I'm going to push her to return my feelings, answer them, or ignore them. It's just one of the many freedoms Yumiko finally managed to gain. JB's miraculous provocation nearly drove me astray, but originally I hadn't even considered the possibility of making a move. Though who knows what might happen down the road. If the two of us stay together, we'll probably get an answer to these feelings eventually. I want to put an end to this fugitive lifestyle as soon as possible, but there's no need for us to rush when it comes to figuring out our relationship. We trust each other, that should be enough for now. But not long after events took an abrupt, somewhat unexpected turn. Human beings don't act on the basis of reason alone. Soon I would gain a new appreciation for that undeniable fact. Desires are a natural part of life, putting aside the basic craving for food, sleep, extracting that help keep us alive. There's a whole range of secondary urges that are least possible to endure. Sexual desire is often called the strongest among these. It's a fairly typical example of the male gender. I've got a fair amount of lust to go around myself. My previous employer actually went out of their way to provide us ways to scratch this particular itch. However, when it comes to the female sex drive, my knowledge is somewhat spotty. It's long been said that men and women experience the sexual urges that begin with puberty in very different ways. I'm not even going to go into that because I ended up with puberty early than normal. And I interacted with a number of females who seem at a glance completely lacking in such desire. Sakaki Yumiko will be one such case in point. They'll live in the one room for months now, spreading out her bedding only a few feet away from each other. But nonetheless, she's given every indication of viewing me as part of the furniture rather than a member of the opposite sex. It had been a long day on the job. After dinner, I went to bed a little earlier than usual. Yumiko didn't have anything in particular to do either, so she climbed in her futon at the same time and soon fell quietly asleep. Can't fall asleep tonight for some reason. Although Yumiko was already breathing quietly a few feet away, it's proving very difficult to nod off myself. After a while, I closed my eyes and just pretend to sleep. There wasn't really any thought behind that. It's pretty common for me to have trouble sleeping. Sometimes this helps. No reason to disturb Yumiko by tossing and turning around either. But the young woman in question abruptly sits up, pulls back her blanket, and walks quickly off toward the bathroom. Yumiko returns quietly to the bedroom only a minute or so later. I lie quietly wide awake, waiting for the sound of her slipping back into her futon, which doesn't seem to be happening. What's this? For some reason, Yumiko doesn't seem too eager to get back in bed. Open my eyes just a crack. She's standing expressionless in between our futons, staring fixedly down at me. After muttering a question to no one in particular, Yumiko quietly lowers herself to the ground next to me, her legs splaying out to one side. What's this girl thinking? I decide to keep breathing softly and allow her to think I'm unconscious. Hypothetically, if she viewed me as an enemy or bore some grudge, this could be interpreted as a preliminary stage of an assassination attempt. I'm confident that's not the case right now. Yumiko definitely trusts me. That said, we're talking about a woman who tried to slap me in the face the first day we met and spent a good amount of time attempting to stab me. That's in the past now, but she's definitely prone to expressing herself in violent ways. And I need to get to the next part.